Thanks for taking time to listen to this episode of the Real ResQ podcast. Take a minute to go to therealresq.com to check out these and other great deals from our sponsors here at the Real ResQ. This episode of the Real ResQ podcast is brought to you by Breeze Eastern, the world's only dedicated helicopter hoist and winch provider. Axness, because when lives are at stake and conditions are challenging, clear communication is of the utmost importance. Life Saving Systems Corporation. We do our work so you can do yours. Tough gear for tough jobs. And SR3 Rescue Concepts, because you don't know what you don't know. Breeze Eastern. They dedicate themselves to our helicopter rescue world. Since the very first helicopter rescue in November of 1945, Breeze Eastern has designed and manufactured superior rescue hoist solutions. While much of the technology and the unique mission requirements have changed over the past 75 years, their commitment to the rescuers, the operators, and those being rescued has not. Contact them today by visiting them at breeze-eastern.com. The Axness PNG wireless ICS system can bring cutting-edge wireless intercommunication system technology to any aircraft. The PNG system can be fully integrated into an existing ICS system or can be carried on and off as a mobile base station. They can go anywhere at any time on any aircraft. Plus, with the strongest and most robust waterproof handheld on the market, this system can take a hit and keep working. Their wireless intercom systems are designed to enhance situational awareness through improved communication capability. This system brings superior noise canceling technology to eliminate rotor wash and engine noise from your ICS. The Axness PNG wireless system is currently deployed in more than 1,800 public safety, air ambulance, and search and rescue aircrafts worldwide. I have personally used the Axness system in 4 different countries and on 5 different airframes. It is awesome. If you want more information, contact them today at axness.com. That's AXNES.com. You just make sure you tell them Quinny sent me. Life Saving Systems Corporation. They manufacture the world's toughest helicopter rescue gear. From my favorite harness as a rescueman, the Triton harness, to the rescue baskets, the litters, and of course, the most popular hook in all helicopters, the D-Lock. The team at LSC will cut, bend, sew, weld, and machine these products into existence every day. We do our work so you can do yours. LSC. Tough gear for tough jobs. Check them out today at lifesavingsystems.com and follow them on Instagram at Rescue Gear. That's at ResQGEAR. And SR3 Rescue Concepts is a training company that can help with your helicopter training, a standardization and safety check, or maybe just an audit or an FAA refresher. They are here to bring your agency up to date with the most current techniques, rules, regulations, and equipment. The training staff is awesome. With the certified flight instructor pilots, experienced crew members, which I am happy to say that I am one of them, they offer training in rescue, medical, tactical, firefighting, ground operations, and night vision goggle use. SR3 is also partnered with Petzl to assist with personal protective equipment and the highly specific Lazard. SR3 also goes beyond the helicopter world as they provide high-angle rescue training and tactical medicine training. Contact them today at sr3rescueconcepts.com or over on Instagram at sr3_rescue. I know I tell you guys that I love it when Coast Guard rescue swimmers come on the show. Well, I do. And the fact that I've got another one coming on right now, which even goes beyond the Coast Guard into Air Force Pararescue stuff, these stories are like awesome. And I'm totally pumped for all you guys to hear it. So please welcome our next guest, United States Coast Guard rescue swimmer number 797, Mr. Tyler Gaenzle. My name is Jason Quinn. I am United States Coast Guard Rescue Swimmer number 500. These are my rescues and rescues from those of us that put our lives on the line every day so others may live. This is the Real ResQ Podcast. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Real ResQ Podcast. I've got another brother with me today. I love it when rescue swimmers come on, and he's actually gone even further than that. We're going to get into that too, but United States Coast Guard rescue swimmer number 797, Mr. Ty Gaenzle. Did I say that right?
Yeah, you sure did.
Are you lying?
Got it right the first time.
Okay.
No, that's it. That's it.
Mr. Ty Gaenzle. I'll do that again. I'm just kidding. What's up, Ty? How are you, brother?
I'm good, man. Thanks for having me on. I really do appreciate it.
Are you kidding me?
Love your show. Love your show.
Oh, thanks, man. I am super stoked to have you. You and I have been in touch a little bit, and you sent me some awards, and I was kind of beside myself reading some of them, and I'm like, oh my God, like some of the stuff that you've been through. So I'm very excited to hear about it. I'm excited for everybody that's listening to hear this. It's going to be awesome. So, but before I go that far, if you don't mind, just take a little bit, introduce yourself, tell everybody kind of where you are, who you are, a little background about you, how you got into Coast Guard, and how you got into being a rescue swimmer.
Yeah, like you said, my name's Ty. How I got into Coast Guard's pretty funny. I did college baseball for a little bit out of El Paso, Texas, and then I was like, man, I got to do something else. So I literally went to the shopping mall and went to all the recruiters, but no one was there except the Coast Guard recruiter, and that's just how I got in. Yeah, in the middle of the desert.
That's hilarious.
So yeah, literally did boot camp a couple months later, and then ended up on the Melon with. Not even thinking about being a rescue swimmer. I just joined to join. And then I was actually going to go AET, and I got to Air Station Port Angeles, for the airman program stuff. Yep. And John Limborn, who's the chief there. And then Tim Adams was the first, Sean Durance, a bunch of other guys.
Dude, I know all those guys. Like,
dude, they're great.
Sean,
still talk to them.
Tim Adams. Oh,
great.
I love those guys.
Yeah, Tim's a hothead. He's awesome.
Yep.
And yeah, John Limborn and Tim Adams just like looked at me when I was in the AET Airman program. They're like, "What are you doing, man?" And they're like, "You'd make a good swimmer." I was like, "I have no idea what that is." And so they just showed me around a bit, and then I think I was a duck. I was like, "This is pretty sweet." So started over, my list on the AST A school, and then a year later I was back at Air Station Port Angeles in the airman program with those same guys. And did that whole deal. Went to school, graduated school, went to Astoria. So dude, that's pretty much my story. Yeah.
That's pretty good, man. That's go Tim and go Sean. And come on, man. Good job, guys.
Dude, that was such a good shop. Yeah. They beat the heck out of me, but they're awesome. Yeah.
I could tell you stories about Tim. Oh my gosh. Him and I wrestled. And he was like, oh,
he loves to wrestle.
Yeah. Wrestled in high school. Now, Tim, I don't remember exactly how tall he is. He's like 5'10", maybe on a good day. So I'm sitting at 6'4", and we're rolling. Next thing I know, I'm like in a pretzel. I'm like, all right, Tim.
Yeah.
Let me just straighten out.
Yeah.
Oh, it was so funny. But anyway.
Yeah.
You mentioned you did you were a duck. So for those that don't know, a duck, or the duck syllabus is what we call it in the Coast Guard. It's somebody that can go out with a rescue swimmer as a survivor. So we deploy somebody that go through a little bit of training, and that way we know they're not going to freak out when they get to the water all by themselves. And then we go down there, and we use those ducks as survivor training stuff. So that's pretty cool that they get you all set up for that to kind of pave the way.
It was good.
That's awesome.
So
sweet.
So yeah, they finally sent me to A school. That was like 2010. And then graduated like 2011 at the beginning, and I had to go through A school twice. I got set back at the parachute or the dual aviator multi, just because I went over time 3 times. So I had to do it.
I'm sorry.
Start that first 2 months over, but you know what? Just makes you better. Makes you better, man.
That is true. I do feel for you for that one though.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Good for you. Way to stick with it. All right. So now you get to Astoria, Oregon, Cape Disappointment, Columbia River, kick out like one of the worst barge or what is it? The worst bars in the West Coast or the America off the top of my head. It is gnarly out there. Absolutely crazy. So you get qualified. Do you remember your first case?
Oh yeah. Vividly. Is
that one of these that you sent me just out of curiosity?
Yes. Yeah. It was in 2011, summer of 2011.
So I got to read this. Oh, okay.
Oh gosh. Yeah. The write-ups are always wonderful.
I got to tell you, man, I've read some write-ups and this one is pretty legit. I was like, wow. Is it on Archer Mountain? Is that the one you had?
Yes. Yeah. In the Columbia River Gorge is kind of where it was at.
This was your first case.
It was. Yeah. I switched duty with, I think it was Byron Cross. If you know him. I do not, but I'm excited to meet him. Yeah. He's a great dude. He just switched and as you know, that's how it happens. It's always when you switch duty with somebody. That's awesome. Sorry, dear boy. Well, I'll tell you about, let me read this and then, give us a rundown of how this went on because the write-up, like I said, is amazing. So citation to accompany the award of the Coast Guard Commendation Medal to Tyler Gaenzle, Aviation Survival Technician, 3rd Class, United States Coast Guard. Tyler Gaenzle is cited for outstanding achievement while serving as rescue swimmer aboard Coast Guard Helicopter 6011 on 29 July 2011 during the rescue of 2 downed hikers from a cliff near Archer Mountain in Washington. The crew of the 6011 arrived on scene at 2300 to find the distressed hikers under a tree on a small ledge about 150 feet down the cliff face. Pastor Gaenzle bravely volunteered to deploy down the vertical surface to assess the situation. He demonstrated exceptional professionalism and determination as he cliff walked down the vertical surface, momentarily losing visual reference with the helicopter. He then quickly disconnected from the hook, navigated thick brush and steep terrain, and joined the survivors. Pastor Gaenzle immediately began treating the critically injured member whom was suffering from a broken back and shattered ankle. Quickly determining the need for a litter hoist, Pastor Gaenzle sought out the only suitable hoisting location and advised a helicopter above. Displaying traits of a seasoned rescue swimmer, Pastor Gaenzle requested the helicopter to illuminate the area with the night sun to expedite transferring the critically injured survivor onto the backboard. While transporting the loaded backboard to the litter with help from the other survivor, Pastor Gaenzle noticed him struggling with the terrain as his helper lost footing and slid towards the edge of the cliff. In one determined act, Pastor Gaenzle vigorously pulled the backboard and the survivor 5 feet up the steep slope to safety. With extreme focus, Pastor Gaenzle tended the litter out from under the tree and up the cliff to the helicopter. He then used his body to shield the other survivor from tree limbs and jagged rock face as they were hoisted to safety. Pastor Gaenzle's actions were that of an experienced multi-tour rescue swimmer and instrumental in saving the lives of the critical injured hiker. His dedication, judgment, and devotion to duty are most heartily commended in keeping with the highest traditions of the United States Coast Guard. Holy shit, that is freaking insane. Yes. Dude, that's awesome. Tongue twister. Totally, but wow. Yeah. Okay. It was a good one. So you're not supposed to be on duty. You switched. Alarm goes off. What comes over the alarm? I don't think there was a SAR alarm. They just called me up to the ops center. And then, yeah, they called me up to the ops center just to talk about what was going on. And the call was basically a couple of teenagers were just scrambling, free climbing, in that like fourth class terrain where, a little bit sketchy and in the Columbia River Gorge. And one of them had slipped and fell and landed on a tree before he, tomahawked down all the way down the gorge, Columbia River Gorge.
God.
And it was nighttime, so the volunteer rope rescue couldn't get to him via down below or up top. So that's why they just requested a helicopter, and we're the only asset that was available. So we went ahead and launched on that night. And transit was fairly short, maybe about 30 minutes. And then they were about, I think, like it said, 150 or so feet down this cliff face, and this little narrow cliff band with just kind of steep vegetation. And then it was another sheer cliff about 300 feet down from there to the road system. So we talked about it, and as your first SAR case, you're just like, I could do this.
Yeah, I got this.
And yep. And I remember the flight mechanic is, once they put me out the door, looking at the hoist cam footage and all the internal ICS talk, they're just like, no offense to rescue swimmers, but how they can get when they're new. That's what they're talking about. So that was pretty funny. But you know what? It had the deed has to get done, either way. So it was nighttime, and it was about a 200-foot hoist, which they couldn't see. They could barely see your hand and arm signals that far down, even with the reflective tape on there. So
side note, real quick.
Finally,
were you did you have night vision goggles on by chance?
Just for the search, but
okay. Getting hoisted. So that's not a normal Coast Guard procedure or anything to get hoisted in goggles. I wasn't sure because they're so far down. It's always a question that comes up. So anyway.
I do that nowadays. That's for sure.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah. So finally got to that cliff band, and it would have been very, very tough hoisting. We didn't hoist directly on them because we didn't want to, rotor wash blow rocks down on them, because we're within 10 feet of the cliff anyways with the rotor blades. So everyone was on point, just trying to, wash the rotor clearance. So we kind of offset a little bit and made the decision to unclip. And as soon as I unclipped, I was like, well, I'm in it now. This is very, very steep, and you just gotta roll with the punches. So ended up bushwhacking, getting over to him and his buddy, and his buddy did an awesome job. He actually that's how we found him. He lit a little fire on the side of the cliff, and then gave his injured buddy all his clothes. So this guy was just in his boxers. Yeah. He was a good friend.
Yeah, that's a great friend.
Yeah.
I do it for you.
And
okay. Just throw that out there.
Yeah. Thanks, man. So what I saw was, this is such a difficult packaging job. This kid, where he fell is where he was. And he was about on this overhanging tree, about 5 feet up this tree, in the tree. He wasn't on the ground. So it was a very interesting problem to solve. So just saw what was going on. And then I was looking around, and I was like, how the heck am I going to get the litter down here? Because if not, it was just going to have to be a quick drop, because the terrain's too difficult to package with the litter. So
did you know he had a broken back at the time?
Yes, I had done my rapid trauma assessment, and then obvious step offs, and then he had shattered his leg as well.
Wow.
You could see, you could feel all the crepitation in his leg, and then you could see obvious step offs like mid spine.
Holy smoke. Did he have feeling in his feet out of curiosity? I don't know if you remember that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I couldn't feel his pulses in his leg that was affected. So I was like, gosh dang it.
Yeah.
A litter seems more appropriate. So I radioed to the helicopter and said, hey, I need the litter. And they had dropped the tag, or I call them taglines now, but the trail line.
Yep.
With the weight bag, and they just connect, two of them together, and then lowered that. And then I think I've read one of your other podcasts, they clip it to the hoist hook, which I don't do anymore. Everything's the foot of the litter, but that's beside the fact,
Things we learned.
I tell you, man, but
we're going to do that later.
Yeah, I tagged it on down, and it was such good hoisting from the FE or the flight mech. I'm sorry if I interchange words from different services.
Yeah, no, you're good. You know what? Everybody out there knows exactly what you're talking about. So you're good.
Yeah. So the litter was coming down, and it was just bouncing off the cliffs, because it's pivoting, on the hoist hook. And I get it to this one spot. And those guys did an awesome job. They already packaged the rescue strop, the smaller backboard, and my EMT stuff in there without me even asking, which was awesome.
Cool.
Pretty experienced guys up front, and then the flight mechanic in the back. So just took out the smaller backboard, went down to the patient, and I told his buddy, I was like, dude, I'm going to need everything you have right now, because it's just you and me, and this is very like non-forgiving terrain. And his buddy was just like, Roger that, I'll give you whatever you want. So that was awesome. It would have been hard pressed to do it without one other guy. So we ended up packaging them in the tree into the smaller backboard, and it was so difficult to do it safely too, because one slip, because it's a very wet, steep, steep terrain. So one slip would have been pretty bad. So we got them packaged, and we're going up this steep, little scree field up to this hoisting area, which is like a nice little kind of rocky platform below the base of the cliff. So he was on the head of the litter. I was on the foot, because, I had mountaineering boots on over my dry suit, which doing that whole thing in a dry suit was not fun either. Probably lost about 10 pounds of water weight. But anyways, we went up to the hoisting platform, and then right before, you get onto that platform, it was a pretty steep, like, physical move, and he tried to swing his body around to get the foot or the head of the litter up onto there, and he kind of slipped and was sliding. So that whole one move, 5 feet up, that sounded more dramatic than it was, but I grabbed him where he was sliding, and then just helped stabilize the litter, and then I just deadlifted and just slid the litter up and over onto this platform, and then I just grabbed him so he wouldn't fall. But it was still pretty scary, because I thought he was going for the ride. I was like, my gosh, this is don't do it, dude.
Wow.
But from there, to standard litter hoist, it was still pretty scary, because the litter is pivoting and bouncing off the cliff face, because it was probably about 90-degree cliff. And finally got that in the helicopter. I was like, yes. And then hoist hook came back down. I just left the tagline there on scene. I was like, I'm not going to bag this and deal with this.
Yeah.
So just quick, rescue dropped his buddy, and then just standard banging against cliffs trying to fend it off. So this kid doesn't get all banged up either. And then we're in the helicopter and then went to the level 1 trauma center there in Portland. I forget the name of it, but I did my pass down and that was that. Then we flew back to, home base and talked about it. And I think another crew came in to replace us. So that was it.
All right. So out of curiosity, so I remember my first case like that too, where it was just it was gnarly. And I remember going out the door thinking, this is what we've trained for. This is what it's all about. When you got back and you're back to base, did it ever dawn on you that was like a gnarly case?
I was up all night. I didn't sleep. I was just like, man, that was pretty cool. This is gonna be a long career if they're all like this. And then the guys in my shop, which you probably know some of, dude, it was Astoria had such a good shop.
Yeah.
Good dudes. Like Jason Shalene was the chief, if you ever met him.
Great guy.
Dude,
great guy.
Dude,
Shout out to Jason.
Yeah, Mike Spencer, all those guys. But they had, I guess, looked over the hoist cam footage and the audio once I was off going, and I came back in. They're just like, dude, good job, man. So it was cool to hear that from the older guys. That's how Astoria was, man. When I got there, all the older guys are just like, you want to stand duty, man? Port and starboard. You're as a new guy. I was like, yeah, I want to stand duty. They're like, here you go. So the 3 years I was there, I was fairly busy. It was awesome. It was awesome having a good group of older dudes.
Wow, what a way to start the career off! Holy cow, that's something else. All right, so now I gotta ask, like, what was your second case? And I only ask that because with a case like that starts it out, you get to your second where you're like, oh, it's gonna be like that, and then you're like, oh.
Honestly, it was pretty epic too. It was probably
don't tell me your second one is the next like write up.
No, okay.
Actually,
it is not, but it was off Cape Mendocino, like 130 miles off Cape.
Holy cow.
Yeah.
So Cape
it was like a month later.
Cape Mendocino is in California. So that's like Humboldt Bay, where I was stationed, neck of the woods. So if you're going all the way down there, that means the 65 can't make it out to where the issue or the case is. Yeah,
I think they're doing the fuel calcs and they're going to have to deal with the 40 knot headwind just trying to get out there. So they didn't have the gas or the time. I suppose that's why the call came to us. So one of the swimmers, Jared Herbert, came out and he's just like, hey man, you got a SAR case. I was like, okay, what is it? And literally just found out about it when I was in the helicopter, because it was kind of like one of those things that just needed to happen. So it was a sailboat, like a 60-foot sailboat, 130 miles off Cape Mendocino. It was disabled and they took a couple waves. And that's all we knew at the time, two persons on board. So we just motored on down to Humboldt Bay and then gassed up at Humboldt Bay. It was cool. Like Eric Bean was the chief down there.
Oh, love Eric.
He's like, yeah, he's awesome. He's awesome. And he's just like, you son of a gun. You guys are coming down here taking our missions. It was pretty funny, but he's just like, oh, I'm stoked for you. And we gassed up and then went offshore. And then as soon as we rounded the Cape, that's when like the winds and the waves really picked up. It wasn't anything too crazy, but it was like a solid probably 15 to 18 foot waves. Like short period wind chop though, because the winds were honking. And we talked about it with the crew and then ended up doing a sling deployment, like downwind, down swell of the boat. And they already had like a mooring line kind of off the bow of the boat. So that was nice. Just kind of meeting with the boat and swimming, down swell, downwind. And that was awesome. Just climbed on board and just did like a muscle up. And then I'm just like, hey, how's it going?
What's up?
Yeah.
I hear you guys need some help.
Yep. And one thing that we did is was pretty cool with experience. Flight mechanics was, we brought a couple of survival suits, a couple of Gumby suits.
Nice.
So they just did like a indirect kind of pump delivery of some survival suits once we got started, because we knew they're going to have to get in the water. Just had them, get in their Gumby suits, and then they're like, "Can we bring our dogs?" And they had one dog, one like little terrier or something like that. I'm just like, oh, geez, I guess. So once it was all said and done, we jumped in the water, kind of upswell of the boat with the first lady. I think it was the guy's girlfriend, and she just held on to the little dog. I was like, "Don't let go of the little dog," and just did a basket pickup. That was pretty straightforward. And then I turn around and I just, you're still a young swimmer. I'm just swimming as hard as I can back to the boat. And I look up and it's just like hundreds of yards away from me.
Yeah.
And I look up at the helicopter, and Dan Horde was the flight mechanic. He already has the hoist hook in his hand with the strap. And I could see him laughing. I'm just like, all right, yeah, I'll take it.
I'm ready for pickup. Yes, please.
Yeah. That was so funny. That was really funny. So yeah, we just I just connect to that, and then kind of circle around and just do another sling deployment, and then grab a hold of that mooring line, and that's always a fun ride. Just getting whipped around with those waves. And finally got on board. I'm like, all right, it's your turn now. So he jumped in with the backpack with all their important belongings that they had at the time, and did a basket, hoisted him, and then about 20 feet up the hoist, a wave just smacked him and put him halfway out of the basket. So it's like, oh geez. I was like, and that's one reason why they teach us never to look away, like just swim away while someone's getting hoisted up in the basket. And that was like a perfect example. I was like, gosh dang it. I had to swim over and like put him back in. And the second hoist was, easy peasy from there. So we just went back to, I think it was McKinleyville.
Yep.
And then met up with the ambulance once we finally got back there. And I think we stayed overnight there too, because we had been flying for, I think, 8 hours already with the transit down there, and then the SAR case itself. But yeah, that was my second one. I was like, this is really fun, dude. Oh
my gosh. Wow. You had a good time there in Astoria. Holy smokes.
Dude. Yeah. Astoria was awesome. Really was.
Well, all right. So do I need to fast forward to like the next good one, or do you want to throw a couple others in there?
I think there's some smaller ones, but nothing memorable like those first two. Those were really good. They're great.
2 back to back. I think my second case that I had was nothing more than a search. I was like, oh.
I remember those. I still remember how long some of those are.
Oh my gosh, they're ridiculous. Well, I tell you what, let's get into the next one, because this one is another great write-up. But this was not just you, and I'm going to give a shout out to O'Brien Hollow, because
he 100%.
was a big, now this does not mention him directly, but the article that or the write-up, the case write-up that you sent me, that has his name in it. And for everybody out there, I was going to read into it, but I'd rather just read the award, and then Ty, I'd rather you just kind of walk us through it. Is that cool?
Yeah, sounds good, man.
All right, here we go. Citation to accompany the award of the Meritorious Service Medal to Tyler Gaenzle, Aviation Survival Technician, 3rd Class, United States Coast Guard. Pastor Gaenzle is cited for heroic service in the performance of duty as a rescue swimmer aboard Coast Guard helicopters 6013 and 6035 on 21 July 2012 during the rescue of an injured hiker in the remote wilderness area of Mount Rainier in Washington. Pastor Gaenzle conducted a dangerous and challenging life-saving rescue of a fellow Coast Guard member seriously injured after a 400-foot fall down a steep mountainside at night in the remote area of Tashush Lake, Washington. After the rescue helicopter located the injured hiker, Tyler Gaenzle equipped himself with climbing ropes, medical equipment, and cold weather survival gear and descended into the ravine using a combination of rock and body belays. After several grueling hours, the two potential fatal falls, he reached the injured hikers. Pastor Gaenzle then provided critical medical care to help stabilize the hypothermic hiker. This 11-hour evolution, which was highlighted by a helicopter deployment to a snow and ice covered ridgeline, required a treacherous descent of a 200-foot ice chute with a 45 to 70-degree slope to assess and transport the non-ambulatory and injured hiker while strapped to the backboard. Once the injured hiker was secure in the rescue litter and prepared for hoisting, concerned that the hoisting area was not the safest location dictated a decision to move to a more open hoisting area. In a Herculean effort, oh, I love that. In a Herculean effort, Pastor Gaenzle helped move the injured hiker in the litter 100 feet down the unstable terrain to a new location. The new hoist area allowed for improved footing and fewer obstacles for the rescue helicopter during the hoist. His skills and heroism were instrumental in the rescue of the critically injured hiker. Pastor Gaenzle's dedication and devotion to duty are most heartily commended, in keeping with the highest traditions of the United States Coast Guard. Dude, that's insane.
Gosh. Yeah, that was one that I will always remember. Absolutely. That was a tough night.
The only reason I'm going to bring this up a little bit is because this is the write-up you had sent me, and in it, without getting too far into it, you guys actually were not on duty at the same time. One of you got launched out for one case, and then one of you got launched out for the other, and then you ended up meeting up. Is that accurate?
I was on Saturday duty. So there's only one duty crew that day, and we knew that was going on, and we were going to launch on that SAR case. But down in, I forget what the sea cave is, further down in Oregon by Newport, there was a kid who went out on low tide and then got trapped on the cliffs at high tide. So we had to go and do a vert surface of, do a pick off of that kid who was stranded before he got washed away. So we're like, that's pretty time sensitive right there. So they ended up calling another crew anyways, which was O'Brien and the other crew. Okay. So we went down there, pretty straightforward vert surface. It wasn't anything crazy. And we just pretty much just airlifted and hoisted down to the beach to a waiting ambulance. And then we knew there's something more pressing. So we just beat feet back to Astoria to hot gas and go from there.
Nice. So you're rolling up to O'Brien, like,
dude, I love O'Brien to begin with, but man, he had just finished like a mountaineering course in Colorado. I think you remember that time where guys got sent to Colorado for like rock rescue or anything like that. So he had just got back from that. So, and I was preparing to climb Mount Rainier, getting really into mountaineering. So everything happens for a reason, man. And I think it was Jeff Tunk's podcast you just did. Yep. He said something that resonates with me, and I truly believe in it. God doesn't call on the qualified; He qualifies the call.
Can I get an amen?
Man, yeah.
Thanks, Jeff Tunk's. Cool.
So yeah, and that is such a good quote because it is very true, as you know. Yeah. So once we got back, O'Brien and I, we kind of went back into the shop and just kind of did a tactical pause before we just launch out on this thing. Because all we know is it's one of the flight mechanics, Ben Jelka, and one of his friends at the time. She was a FS in the Coast Guard, and they're hiking around Tatoosh Lakes, Washington. That's all we knew, and he had taken a fall. So we're like kind of looking on Google Earth, like what the terrain looks like at the chords that they gave us. just trying to like build some essay before we just get thrown into the boiling cauldron, you know?
Yeah.
So with that being said, we ended up bringing snowshoes. O'Brien brought crampons. One of us brought the med ruck, and the other brought the like hypo and ropes kit. And we get on the helicopter.
Sorry, real quick.
Boogie.
Did you guys have a full ropes kit at the unit, built up, ready to go?
Yeah, it was just built up because once a month we went out to the Cape Disappointment and we do cliff ops.
Oh, right.
There across the
Okay.
So we already had that built up for guys who go ahead and set up dummies for vert surface ops once a month. So
nice.
that was an easy grab for us.
Cool. Very cool. Because I know not all units would have a full ropes kit bag ready to go for mountaineering like that.
Yeah. So yeah, we grabbed that, jumped on the bird, and then just kind of did like rehearsals in flight. Like me and O'Brien were talking about what we're going to do, potentially what we might find. And, we don't train for that really at all.
Right.
Besides, what guys do recreationally. But there's another good quote my buddy has, like, you're only good at what you do. So that's another quote that resonates with me. But anyways, we get out there.
I like
we're
that.
about at 60. Yeah. You're only good at what you do. Everything's perishable, but anyways, I digress. We get out there and we're at about like 6,000, 7,000 feet in elevation at a small range next to Mount Rainier. It wasn't on Mount Rainier. And it was like an alpine lakes area with big steep cliffs, and we don't see anybody. And then we finally see someone waving a t-shirt, and we're like, that's got to be them. So the pilots are doing their thing. They're calculating power margins. And then they ended up having to do a fuel dump before we pull into a hover, because we're at like close to 7,000 feet, I think, when we actually deploy for the FS, the female that was there. So we pulling over hover, talking about what we should do from there. And they just hoist me down to talk to her, assess the situation, and then go from there. So I get down there with my snowshoes and I go over to her, and she has a little lab with her, I believe. And I was just like, hey, where's Ben at? Where was the fall? She kind of pointed towards the fall line. I was like, all right, it was starting to get low light too. So we're kind of worried about that, but we had headlamps and everything. And at the time we had those Dave Clark push to talks, which were money. Instead of using the swimmer radio, we just connected that to the Dave Clarks. And that's the only technology, the good technology we had at the time. So it's better than nothing.
Right.
So basket hoist to her and the dog. And then and the pilots did awesome. And the hoisting was awesome as well, because they're dealing with some pretty severe gusts, because, ridge lines and everything are usually much windier than everywhere else. So they hoisted O'Brien to me he had the ropes and the hypo stuff. And I just told him, hey, this is where he is. Let's go see if we can call out to him at least. And the helicopter is trying to orbit and try to find him for us. They couldn't find anything. And then O'Brien and I decided, well, there's not going to be any volunteer or any other service, because weather system's coming in. Like we have to do this. We're not going to. It is. And it's, we know him too. So we're kind of emotionally, I'd say, involved at this point. We're like, yes, we got to make good decisions for the safety of ourselves, but we're very emotionally invested in this,
right?
Because he's our buddy.
Yep.
So yeah, we ended up a giant rock horn. Obi was lowering me like a full rope length, and then he rappelled down, and then I lowered him, and then I rappelled down. But it was very steep, like snowshoe. It's probably started off 70 degrees at the top, and then as it went down, it kind of mellows off, like most drainages do.
Yeah.
But we were doing call outs. We couldn't find him. And now it's pitch black. And we're like, he's not down this chute where the FS2 said he was. So we're like, gosh, dang it. So we decided that time to just hang out. Like O'Brien does a rappel, and he's going to check the other side of this ravine on the other side of the ridge. And we were just in radio contact at that time. I'm just kind of holding on to this tree and just hanging out until I hear from him. So I hear from him, and then I'm rappelling down, and I just took a slip. I had a good rappel device, but it was pitch black, and I just slipped, lost my footing, lost my brake hand, and ended up shattering my headlamp. And then that was pretty scary. And I finally got a good brake hand, and I looked down, and there's this huge, if you know what a snow moat is, it looks like a crevasse, but it's just where the snow and the actual cliff face are separated.
Okay.
So it's like a little chasm,
Yeah.
And I was like, gosh, dang it. that would have been pretty crappy. So finished that, slipped again because the terrain was really bad, and I didn't have a headlamp anymore, and really hit my back hard. I was like, gosh dang it, like, you need to freaking put out, you got to stop doing this. Your liability to O'Brien, he's probably doing fine. Like, what is this guy doing? So
rookie.
yeah. So I finally get down to the bottom of the rappel, and then I traverse over and see O'Brien with Ben under this clip band, it kind of was a clip band. He had fallen and like wedged himself in this little V notch, where he settled from falling all the way down into the Alpine Lake that was a few hundred feet below us.
Oh my
so
God.
I know, man. In regards, that was the good thing about it. So finally get to him, like, hey man, sorry, like I shattered my flashlight on a little fall. So, but let's get this going. So we, Brian had stripped his clothes off. We put him in a hypo bag, and then we hear a helicopter, and it was a different helicopter because the other helicopter was now on crew rest. They already flew 6 hours from the mission prior. So it was a new crew. And they came overhead. They tried to hoist the litter to us, and we're just getting pretty decent size, like softball size rocks coming down on us. And we're like, hey, 6-0, whatever it was, go ahead and scram, because just the debris that was coming down, it wasn't safe. And we had them orbit, and we talked about it. And O'Brien went down to receive the litter in a kind of a safer spot, kind of at the base of the scree field, maybe a couple 100 feet down or so.
Yeah.
And I just went ahead and just packaged Ben the best I could, because we just put him in a hypo bag and got him trauma naked. And then I actually had the time to do an appropriate assessment. He had step offs. He had a rock, a puncture wound with a rock still in his back.
Oh, gosh.
He had multiple fractures on most of his extremities. So he was in a bad way. I think he had a slight head injury too. But yeah, he was in a bad way. So just packaged him, did my med treatment, so on and so forth. And, they completed the hoist, got the litter down to O'Brien. So I was like, sweet, we're finally getting some forward progression in this. And we just told him, hey, it's going to be a while to get that litter up to him, and then obviously get him somewhere safer. So they go and land, I think, in the Mount Rainier National Park's like visitor center parking lot. Their story is really funny. They're like cars driving by. There's this helicopter in the middle of the parking lot. Pretty
That's
funny.
Awesome.
So O'Brien radios to me like, hey, like, I don't know if I can get this freaking Stokes up here by myself. And I was like, well, what about just the backboard inside the Stokes? He's like, oh yeah, good idea. So he just, undid it and then strapped it to his back and was able to make it up to me. And then we packaged him, which was very difficult in this little V notch where he settled. And the easiest, most straightforward way to get him down to a safer area was to lower him off of this cliff band, which we talked about a lot. We didn't have any rock anchors, anything like that.
Holy
but
smart.
we had a good stance. So we rigged the litter with the rope, the static rappel rope, and we opted to honestly just lower from that cliff from there with O'Brien on the litter. So like a two-person load.
Yeah.
And I was like, I'm going to give it all I got, man. Like I'm behind this V notch. So I'm just going to set up for a lower with you, like a body belay. So that was extremely tough. And you don't want to fail because two of your buddies,
right.
So, and it was the middle of the night and weather's starting to whip in, it's getting windy, and you could see a fog layer start to build on the Alpine Lake. So we're like, we have to freaking boogie, man. So lowered him off of this cliff band. And then when he got done with this like 50-foot cliff band, he got into a scree field, which kind of mellowed out, and then just went till the rope was out, and he said he was good. So I was like, sweet, I'm going to take you off this body belay. And then I went down and around the path that O'Brien did to receive the litter. So I get up to him. He's kind of in between some steep terrain. I'm sorry. And then like, this is not a good spot either to hoist, because it's going to be hoisting through the trees. So we're like, all right, let's do one more lower. And we could hear the helicopter, like they're running out of time. We're like, give us 10 minutes, guys, get to a better spot. And then we ended up lowering. He's now in the Stokes litter now with the backboard, everything else.
Nice.
So yeah, we do another 100-foot lower on some very steep wooded terrain, where you'd have to be on all fours. It was that steep. Lower them finally in the middle of the strainage where there's absolutely no trees, but the only bad thing was the helicopter. Their only option to affect the hoist was nose into the ravine, into the cliff. So we're like, this is all we got, and they're running out of fuel. And that's when we had 4 trail lines, so 2 heavy weather trail lines. Wow. So one was connected to the hoist hook as per standard, and then we're like, heck that, forget that. We're attaching another 2 to the foot of the litter, just because of how the winds were swirling, and they're having a difficult time, holding this hover nose into the cliff, and that must have been nerve-wracking for them. So ended up hoisting it up. It was about like 190-foot hoist. And then,
wow,
the flight mechanic got him in the helo, and then we just did, the mad poo of me and O'Brien, kind of fending off the cliffs on the way up, and then got in the helicopter and then went to, I believe, Olympia, Washington, hopped on an ambulance, helped the EMTs along the way, and then did a pass down with the surgical team in the ER about what happened, what his wounds were. And as soon as you probably know this, as soon as like the patient is in good hands, usually all their compensation, their compensated shock starts to release, and they relax. Right. And then they go into sort of decompensation. So he actually started to bleed from all his wounds finally when he got to the ER. So that was pretty crazy to see. That was my first time actually, seeing that in person. So, but we did. He was alive, and I think he's still standing duty this day. It took him a year or so to recover. So, pretty cool. Yeah, pretty cool.
That's awesome.
And then we got back, and finally we got back. I think it was like, I don't know, 10 or 11 hours later since we got the call. So was a long night, that's for sure.
Holy smoke. All right. So I got to ask, like, did you leave the girl, the FS back there, or did you take her too? Or did she have a car or something?
The first helicopter crew, I think, took her back to, because I think she was stationed at Cape Disappointment.
Oh, okay, cool.
So I think they took her back to the air station and then had someone pick her up. Or
just making
I'm not
sure
sure
you guys didn't totally leave her.
Yeah.
You just got to double check, you know?
Yeah. I think she climbed down to see how he was doing too. So I mean, she did a lot of crazy stuff as well.
Wow.
But yeah,
that is
nuts.
Holy smoke. Good job, man. Like, oh wow.
Time to put out or get out. That was definitely one of those missions, you know.
You know what? That is exactly why we work out. I'm just saying.
Dude, I tell you what, that was definitely the first mission. I was like, this is why we do it. This is why we train hard and you know, stay with it, like mentally as well, not just physically.
Right. Oh, 100%.
Yeah. And man, yeah, it was good. I was glad I had O'Brien on there with me because as you know, he's a phenomenal guy. He's super calm, super fit, you know.
Yeah. OB is awesome.
Anyways,
love the guy. There's a lot of things to be learned out of that too. That just, I mean, so much you guys went outside of the box and to make a good outcome. Like, well done. That's awesome. To you and all the crews, both crews, OB, amazing.
Yeah.
Damn,
I'm no pilot, but it looked pretty tough when I was looking up. I was like, oh man, you're really close to those cliffs.
Tell you what, we need. But one of the pilots that was on that case, call me. Let's get your perspective too. All right.
Yeah. A couple of them were, I think, Ben Berman, he's retired now, and then Nate Coulter, I think he's 06 now, up in maybe Kodiak or something.
Cool, very cool.
Yeah.
Sir,
Yeah.
Give us a call. Love to hear it.
Yeah.
Like, that's insane. Good job, man. Dude, thanks for sharing. That's
yeah, man.
That is something else.
Yeah.
I can see all of it too. Wow,
yeah. I love sharing stories and I love hearing stories because I mean that's how I get better. I love to like visualize before I go out on a mission if I've heard similar stories and see how, you know, do it better.
Yeah. You know, it's kind of a thing I'm asking now. Is it looking back at that case, is there anything you could have or would have done different?
I would have brought crampons instead of snowshoes.
Hey, right on.
I threw those things were awful. I just threw them into the void. I was so tired of them. Things I would have done better. Gosh, I mean, I didn't have the knowledge back then, but definitely a better, I mean, everyone should get sent to some sort of ropes course, even as swimmers. And I think they do now. And I think the guys are doing a really good job nowadays, but especially in like Alaska, the Northwest, you know, because your guys are always doing stuff in the mountains there, always. And then the coastal cliffs, of course. Yeah. So if I were to ever hint to, you know, other commands in the Coast Guard, obviously I'm not in it now, so it doesn't matter. So
right.
Send your guys to that, you know, set them up for success, because I felt very untrained to do that, and it made me mad, because I was like, I'm not giving it all, because I need to know this basic stuff, you know, besides my own recreational time. But that would be the only thing that resonates for me from that SAR case.
That's pretty good then. I'd say you had the whole case on point then. Well done.
Yeah.
Badass, man. Holy smoke. Well, I'll tell you what, man, after that, if you had any other ones there, I'm all about it. If not, I know right after the Coast Guard, you opted to get out of the Coast or lateral over. How did you do that?
Yep. Yeah, I was like 6 months out from my 6-year commitment in the Coast Guard. So I ended up talking to some PJs at Advanced Helicopter Rescue School. And the ball just got rolling from there. I was like, man, that's pretty awesome. And I was kind of like, I love the swimmer gig. It's awesome.
Yeah.
But everyone gets that itch, like,
yeah.
Oh, would it be like on that side,
Yeah.
And I was like, I don't want to play around with that. I was like, still young enough in my career, I'm going to do it. So I tried out for, I think Nick Watson was a newer PJ up in Alaska at the time. And he's just like, hey, there's a tryout here at the 212th Rescue Squadron. And he's like, come on down if you want to give it a shot. And I didn't know too much else other than it's a tryout similar to swimmer school. So I'm still doing underwaters Tuesdays and Thursdays at the shop. So I was like, let's do this. So yeah, ended up doing the tryout and got a slot. And then I think that was like May of 2013. And then I got out August of 2013. And then I actually had a SAR case that wasn't physically the hardest, but was probably one of the hardest SAR cases I've ever had right before I got out. And
do tell.
Yeah, it was sinking vessel about 40 miles offshore, like a tuna boat. One guy on board, and it was like zero loom out, like low 300-foot ceilings in the middle of July. I can't remember what date. And it's fine. Nothing came of this because I got out and it was just like, he got out and then this happened. But it's all good. You learn from these things. So anyways, got the call. SAR alarm went off in the middle of the night. Got out there and we get over this boat and we're talking to the captain over channel 16. And he's underway. We're like, hey, just, go dead in the water because the waves were about 8 to 10, like short chop, nothing crazy.
Yeah.
But the zero loom was tough. It was tough for the pilots. So instead of hoisting to the boat, because there's tons of outrigging and just stuff sloshing back and forth, and you could see the boat listing to the starboard side quite a bit. And we're like, all right, well, let's just deploy the swimmer, and he'll swim to the boat while it's dead in the water, and then we'll go from there. So ended up just doing a direct deployment hoist, disconnected from the hoist hook, swam my butt off, climbed on board because we knew he was listing. So we wanted to get underway as quick as possible and try to dewater this boat.
Yeah.
So talked to the captain in the wheelhouse. I was like, hey, get underway into the waves, hold whatever course it was. And I was like, you hold that. And we tried to do I wish we would have done an indirect pump delivery because of the amount of obstacles on the boat. And that was a lesson learned. Like, at that time I had quite a bit of experience doing port and starboard for so long.
Yeah.
And I should have stuck to my guns, relaying that to the crew, just because I knew the situation I was at on the deck. So that's a lesson learned too, is stick to your guns. Don't be pressured by others. You're the guy, you're the man in the arena. No one else sees what you see, So we tried a, underway tagline pump delivery. Immediately the tagline or trail line got fouled in the outrigging. So I had to kind of climb up on it, try to undo it. I was like, gosh dang it.
Geez.
So finally got the tagline going. And this is another thing that was on me is, the captain was, under the influence at the time. So and it was zero loom. So I was trying to get this pump there, and then he went 180 or something like that while they're underway trying to hover over the boat. And the helicopter they got, lost target and almost impacted the mast of the boat. It was close. It was very close. And as soon as that happened, I think the co took controls or something like that happened. They pulled collective and they're out of there. tagline weak link broke, and I just look up and I see the pump connected to the hoist hook just banging at the bottom of the helicopter, just, severe oscillation, but they departed, went into the clouds and just got forward airspeed and just got out of there. And so I kind of got on the radio. I'm like, 860, whatever the tail number was. I was like, hope you guys are all right. I was like, well, I'm still on this. So I'm going to try to dewater it. The guy had some Home Depot buckets, but I was mad. And as soon as I heard him like start slurring and everything like that, I was like, gosh, dang it.
You son of a.
So, yeah. And started trying to dewater with a Home Depot bucket, but I wasn't keeping up. And we took one wave over the starboard side. You're a better man than I am.
I think I would have joined him for a drink. I'm just saying. No, I'm just kidding. I'm kidding. I would not have done that. But it's Did you save a little for the rest of us? I mean, come on.
Yeah. Like, gosh, I need a drink now. So, took a wave over the starboard side and it started filling up below decks. I'm like, holy smokes! Like, this is not good. I'm not keeping up with this. No chance in hell. So I get up to the wheelhouse. I'm like, you put this life jacket on right now. And I hear, the helicopter say, hey, the surf station boat is the motor lifeboat's about 30 minutes out. I'm like, man, I don't got 30 minutes. This thing's probably going to sink. And they're like, oh, okay, well, we don't feel comfortable completing a hoist off that boat. I was like, all right, roger that. And as soon as they said that, another wave came over the starboard side and swamped the boat completely. Below decks was now under the deck, so it's completely underwater. And as soon as I point, I was like, life jacket right now. I was like, I'm just getting my fins ready because I see where this is headed. And as soon as I said that, the power went off, and it was just very eerie.
God.
And it sounded just like this. It was like, phew. And I was like, oh God, it's terrifying. It's like zero loom out. It's super scary. All I see is like the boat underway, still churning with like the phytoplankton like lighting up. I was like, oh, so creepy. And I tried to get to the wheelhouse, and then the boat just pitched up, kind of like the Titanic when it sank in the movie, and just went straight down with me right at the wheelhouse with the fishing boat captain. And we both get sucked under, and that was very, very terrifying. I was under for a little bit. I don't know how long, but I have a dry suit, so I popped right up as soon as the undertow released me, and I was just worried about fishing nets and lines and all that junk, and then I see the life raft pop up, because seawater activated. So I see that pop up, and I turn on my helmet torch, and I'm just searching this debris pile in the waves. I'm like, crap, like I hope he wasn't in the wheelhouse, because I knew he was right there. And he ended up popping out, and he didn't have his life jacket on, or he had it on one arm. I was like, holy smokes. And I could hear the helicopter in the distance. I was like, hey, we're in the water, boat sank. And then they came, lowered the rescue basket, and it was a more straightforward hoist, once we're in the water.
Right.
But I just, from there, I think put him in the basket. I got in the basket, and then just beat feet back to, I think, Cape Disappointment, where we met up with, like law enforcement and ambulances. Excuse me. But yeah, that was the one I probably remember the most.
Ty, that's freaking crazy.
Yeah, it was nuts, man.
You came in with a bang and you left with a bang. Holy good night.
It was literally like 12 days or something like that before my last day. I was like, holy smokes. Well, I gotta do something. But anyways, it was nuts, man. It was nuts. But definitely fortunate that everyone made it out all right.
Wow, man. Just wow. I'm kind of in awe at the moment. I'm just like,
yeah.
That's freaking awesome. Well,
Yeah, definitely a big man. The big man looks out for us sometimes.
oh, no doubt.
I'm not very religious, but yeah, I believe that. That's for sure.
Hey, we're giving him a helping hand. He calls on us all the time. He says, "Hey,
Yeah.
Ty, I need you to go do this for me today. All right, I'm a little busy over here."
With that Italian accent.
Yeah.
I'm a little busy.
Oh my gosh, Ty, that's amazing. Good job, dude.
Yep. And then got out August 1st, and then a few months later, finally started, the PJ pipeline.
And now, how long have you been pararescue?
Oh man, I think I started in January 2014.
Nice.
And up till now, yeah.
So I gotta ask. I mean, I've been a PJ for a little while. Pararescue.
Yep.
Are we allowed to?
What do you want to know?
Am I allowed to ask? I don't even know. Is it top?
Oh
secret?
yeah. Oh totally. No, man. I won't say some things because it's other people's stories, but I'll tell you whatever you want to know, man.
So the first question is, have you got any cool rescues out of being a PJ? Because I've got PJ friends that have got some crazy stories, and they're like, it wasn't that bad.
Crazy.
I didn't get shot. I'm like, what?
Yeah.
What do you mean? Okay, but they're gnarly stories. So I'll take one.
And it's just like the swimmer community. Like everyone doesn't get the gnarly one all the time. It comes in waves. When it's your time, it's your time. So when I finally finished training, I got up to Alaska, and it's just like nonstop training and qualifications. Like it took a year to get like mission qualified after the pipeline.
Oh wow!
So yeah, the cool thing about Alaska is we do civil SAR as well, which is nice, especially if you have a deployment that's not busy, which I've had.
Yeah.
I'd say, like on the civil SAR side, I think one of the missions that sticks out with me is there's a local like climber, mountaineer in the Chugach Front Range here in Anchorage. He was just making like a solo attempt on this peak called Avalanche Peak, and I was on alert. We call it. It's not duty. It's called alert. And I was on weekend alert, so you're on 24 hours call, but you're just at home and you just wait for a call. And that's how alert works up here.
Cool.
We have two crew. We have two PJs on helo alert, and we also have two PJs on C-130 alert for medevacs or jump missions or whatever it is.
Nice.
That's just how we roll. We're quite busy, quite busy. So we get the call, this guy who had fallen a few hundred feet, and that's all we know. We just got cords from the AKRCC, the Rescue Coordination Center, and we launch. It's about midnight or so, and we just see a lone headlamp at the base of this cliff band, and we knew that he might have some chest wall injuries. So we're like, okay, well, let's try to make it more comfortable and try to get like a litter hoist out of this if it makes sense. So we finally get over the top, and the winds are whipping. They're just coming off the top of this cliff band right on the helo, and then there's very, very steep, like a couple thousand feet below this cliff band. And it's the middle of the night. Thankfully, it was pretty clear out, but it was very windy. So we just, we go down with their NVGs, me and my alert partner, and he probably doesn't mind. His name's Brandon. So we go down, and then we're like, holy smokes, this is like steep. And then we thought it was going to be good snow, but it was actually steep snice, I call it, like snow ice. It just hardened up with all the wind.
Yeah.
And it was very steep. So we're like, I don't know if we should unhook right now, So
wait a minute, are you guys connected to the hoist deck together as you're getting lower down?
Oh. Yeah. We raise up our NVGs, and we're looking at each other, and we're like, this is a pickoff. And Brandon's like, yeah, dude. So we finally get to the wall, the snice, I call it. and Brandon had his crampons on, so he just starts digging in, and he's like, I'm disconnecting, dude. You got to do this because we probably won't have too many chances. And he disconnects. I'm like, all right. So I basically, freaking ice climbing up to this dude at the base of this cliff band. And I finally get up to him, and I'm still attached to the hook. They did a phenomenal job. It wasn't your quite the vert surface technique. There's a little loop. So I knew if I fell, I'd shock load the heck out of that cable.
So we need to do a little training.
But you're in it.
I'm hearing. All I heard was training.
No,
training.
We do it. We do it a lot, actually. Vert surface training, but we're already there. Yeah. And we're just trying to make it work. So I'm going up, and he's just kind of paying out a little slack, not too much slack, as I climb up to the guy. And I get up to him, and I was like, what are your injuries? And he's like, I got my ribs. So I just feel it. I could tell it's a flailed chest. Oh. And he's wearing a climbing backpack. He has, one micro spike on. He's got a whippet, it's a trekking pole with a little ice axe attachment.
Yep.
And I was like, dude, this is going to hurt really bad, but I'm going to lasso you with this rescue device, and we're going up. I was like, I'll give you some drugs here in a bit, but we got to go. So I quick strap him, route the quick strap, just like so.
Cause he flailed chest.
And and winds are, I know. I was like, we have to make this work like so. And winds were whipping pretty bad. So the helicopters like doing their best to stay in a good hover with the references they had. And end up I didn't put the crotch strap. I was like, we got to go. Like they're starting to, do some of this. So I was like, I don't want to get ripped away from this cliff, with the winds picking up.
Right.
And give the ready for pickup. And then they kind of get over top, and then, standard hoist, and that guy's just screaming in pain. I'm like, I'm so sorry, dude. And then the wind's coming off the top of the cliff with the rotor wash. We were spinning the worst spin I've ever had. Oh. I'm just seeing like black, white, from the snow and the hover lights and the sky. And I'm just like, holy smokes. And we're starting to plane out too. And I'm just thinking, I wish I had put that crotch strap on. But finally, we have skis on our helicopter. So they, fold the ski down when we're hoisting. Finally grabbed the folded ski, and I'm like, boom, finally stop. I'm like, oh, thank you. So get in the helicopter, and I give them a fentanyl lollipop is what we call them. And
Amen.
I give them some ketamine as well.
Nice.
IM into his muscle, just to kind of relax him, and at least he can have a good time somewhat, and then just treating him in the back, and I'm looking over, they're doing the last hoist to pick up Brandon, and he's spinning like a top two, but and then thankfully we're pretty close to town, so it was like a short 10-minute flight back to the Providence here. So that one stuck out with me. It was really fun, but it was tough. It was a tough hoist.
Wow, that's crazy.
Yeah.
So to help you out with that spin, just tell the pilots to go forward and fight next time. You'll be fine.
Yeah, if Brandon wasn't still down there, then we would.
You can go back for him. He'll be fine.
Yeah. He'll be fine. Yeah. Yep.
Oh my gosh, dude.
One of the guys had a ride like that with the patient not too long ago, where the tagline snapped, and they're spinning, and they're starting to plane out, and they're just like boom, forward flight. And the only thing bad up here is with forward flight is it's like -20 out.
Oh, so it's cold.
So it is freezing when you go forward flight.
All right, so that sucks. But at least you're not spinning.
Yeah.
Damn, man. That's crazy. Gosh, you're like a little SAR magnet. Jeez.
Yeah, guys have some nut stories up here. Like, I should probably tell them to contact you, but
please
like
do.
Brandon, the guy I was with, he's had 5 jump missions in Alaska. Just gnarly stuff. For our E9 right now, that's the cool thing about up here is like our E8s and E9s all stand alert all the time.
Oh.
They get jump missions, and they're like, one of them did a bear mauling mission. He jumped into it, like interior Alaska. It was pretty epic.
Okay. All right. We need some contacts. I'm all about a good story.
Yeah.
Holy cow.
Yeah.
Dude, Ty, these are crazy. This is awesome. Dude, I'm digging this, man. I'm digging this.
The most trauma I've ever had in Alaska was actually a month or so ago, probably a couple of months. There's a couple of sheep hunters in the Wrangell St. Elias National Park, or outside of that, somewhere near there. And, one of them, he was heads down with a heavy pack, you know how that is.
Yeah.
And he looks up, he's at the base of this glacier, in this valley, in the middle of nowhere. And he looks up and he just sees a brown bear cub kind of run away from him. And he's just like, oh my gosh. And we met up with him actually a couple of weeks ago to see how he's doing. And we had some beers and stuff with his friends. It was really cool. And he said he looks over and he just sees, brown bear sow mama on her hind legs, like 70 yards away, and just boom, full dead sprint. He got his pack off, but he didn't have any rounds in the chamber because he's with his buddy. He didn't want to flag him going through the brush, So he said he tried to, shoot it, go click, nothing happened. So immediately he just went to his stomach and protected his neck. And, his story, she was just stomping on him, biting him, everything like that for a while. And then, his hunting partner was like 200 meters behind him. So finally caught up with him and did sheep hunters are super minimalist. So they don't have much on them just to save weight. Yeah. So he covered them with, game bags and all that stuff. And then immediately pressed the SOS on their inReach. And my buddy Sonny and I were already en route to Fairbanks. We usually do that once a week, every so often, for like some training. And so we're already airborne, and they would have had to recall the alert crew at home, which would have taken another hour. So we're like, RCC's like, you guys go. And these Fairbanks trips are really funny because the helo is packed because each PJ has about 5 duffels each with alert gear. We have like survival ruck, we got a water bag, we got a mountain bag, we got our med rucks, we have our warmy bag for the winter, just everything. And you have to take it all. You never know. Yeah. You never know what mission we're going to have. It's very diverse. But anyways,
it's packed in the kitchen sink
and the air crew's bags as well for like their 72-hour bag. So this thing's top to bottom in the 60. So that's our standard trip, every so often. But we go direct to the spot, which is about a 2.5 hour flight for us. We drop bags on this mesa in the middle of nowhere, and we just mark position. We're like, we'll come back for our bags. And me and my buddy are prepping all the med gear in the back of the helo and just, dirt diving what we're going to do. And we go up the valley. The cords are exactly what they told us they were. And we kind of offset. We didn't want to blow rotor wash into the Survivor because we could see the game bags were a little soaked with blood. So we're like, ooh, okay. Yeah. So the pilots do a 2-wheel, drop us off, and then we just hike over to this guy. Yeah, the pilots up here are phenomenal at mountain flying, So yeah, we just hike over to him. I was the team leader on this. Sonny's been in longer, but sometimes it's just like Rochambeau, paper, scissors, rock for who's the medic and who's the team leader. He's like, I haven't done medicine in a while. I was like, I'd like to do some medicine if we get a mission. So I was like, all right, dude. So, we get up to this guy, and Sonny, starts as we go by an acronym, March pause. So massive hemorrhage, airway, respiration, circulation, head and hypothermia, and then pain, antibiotics, wounds, and splitting. So it's an easy acronym to remember.
I like that.
Instead of just ABCs, march pause, because we just do that and deploy it all the time, so it works. So Sonny's treating this guy, and I'm talking to his hunting partner. I'm like, where's the bear? We had a bear gun with us, a little 10 mil, but definitely not enough for a sow with cubs.
Right.
So yeah, the brown bear was 600 yards up this knoll, but they could cover distance in a second. So had his buddy post up with his hunting rifle. Well, we treated the guy, and there's a lot of wounds, a lot of hidden wounds because he's wearing his clothes. We're like, man, I'm sorry, but we're gonna have to cut your nice Kuiu clothing, get you trauma naked. So we got him trauma naked, got him on the vacuum splint, is what we use for splinting, and got him in the hypo bag and into the stokes, and we started treating him, gave him ketamine, IM right off the bat. And then as soon as, the compensation factor again, he started bleeding from all his wounds, and, half his tricep was missing, severe lacerations on the back of his head, puncture wounds like neck to navel. So, and then he had a softball sized hole in his hamstring and a bunch of other lacerations all over his body. So it was really bad. But, tough young guy, handled it pretty well. So as soon as it started bleeding really bad, we started doing pressure dressings, tourniquets. We did chest seals on all the neck to navel puncture wounds. So all that massive hemorrhage treatments we did. So we're like, holy smokes. Gave him some more pain meds. His blood pressure is fine. So prior to the hoist, like the helicopter had to leave for 40 minutes because they're low on fuel. So they had to refuel with the C-130 in air. So they have that probe that just sticks into the C-130 so they could refuel while in flight. Yeah. And we also had another couple PJs who brought blood on the C-130. So nice. We had that option for a transload. So we give this guy some more pain meds, some Versed and ketamine, and prior to the hoist when they came back, just because it could be jerky and it's very painful. So I just ran the tagline. Sonny wrote up, we call it barrelman. So just, a rescuer on the litter. Pretty straightforward hoist from there. He got inside, started treating, and then I hoisted up with the other guy, just quick strop. And then once we got inside, we had another 30, 40 minutes in flight of treatment. So, Sonny got lines started, everything like that. We gave this guy
IO or 200 mil IV.
No, he nailed a 16 gauge in his AC. It was awesome. This guy.
Your boy's on point.
This guy
Good job, dude.
Yeah. Yeah. Sonny's amazing at IVs. Like he does them so fast too. And so it was like, sweet, we don't have to worry about IO, And then we gave that guy like freaking couple 100 milligrams of ketamine and like 8 of Versed, never touched his BP and never touched his, usually when we give people like 200 milligram of ketamine, they're out. They're seeing the wizard. So his pain level is so high.
The pain is good, dude.
Yeah. Yeah, guy was in a lot of pain, but he was tough as nails. And then we just gave him, packaged him some more. I gave him some antibiotics. We give like ertapenem. It's kind of a broad spectrum antibiotic. And then I look outside and we're refueling with the C-130 again. Like, oh, smokes. There's the 130. And I kind of give a pass down to, because we're talking about transloading at a dirt strip in the middle of nowhere. To the 130, they can get them to Anchorage much faster.
Right.
And did a pass down. We go with an acronym called ATMIS. So age, time, mechanism, injuries, signs and symptoms, and treatments given. It's just a quick pass down, And then we finally land at some dirt strip in the middle of nowhere, and then a couple of our dudes from work kind of walk over and they're like, "What's up, guys?" They're like, "This guy's messed up, man." So, and we just, another pass down. And those guys did so much more on the 130. They found lot of stuff that we didn't, and did a lot of packaging. And I think they gave him another 200 of ketamine, never even passed out, and then another 8 of Versed, and tons of other drugs. And I'm not sure if they gave him blood or not, but they had it on board. And that was that. And then me and Sonny with the crew just went back to Fairbanks for.
Did you go pick up your bags, all your gear? Did you go?
Oh yes, yeah.
Okay,
we did. Yeah.
Mark that position. Yeah. We got it.
yeah. Thank God. It's a lot of money in those bags.
Yeah, right. Oh my gosh. Yeah. Damn, man, that is awesome. You've had one heck of a career, dude. You and I are gonna have to keep in touch, because like when other stuff comes up, you just call me. We'll do this again. Yeah. I'm all about it,
man. I got to get, some of the guys have just insane, way crazier stories than probably I'll ever have, like plane crashes with people alive in them and having to use the jaws of life, and
wow,
just nuts stuff, you know. And deployed, I've been busy, but nothing like super crazy like the early days in Afghanistan. Like those guys, just insane stories, just insane. Yeah.
Noted. Duly noted.
Yeah.
Well, Ty, I've taken like a lot of your time today, and dude, I appreciate all of these stories. They are amazing. I'm going to open the floor to you for any advice you would give, training or tips and tricks, or anything that you've learned now that you'd pass on. I'm all about it.
Training and everything like that. I mean, again, it goes to that comment that my buddy always says, you're only good at what you do. So, you know, if you find yourself kind of stagnant or jaded or anything like that, just, you know, kind of realign yourself and, you know, train hard. You know, visualization always works for me when I do a workout or something like that. So can you visualize yourself getting better at something? That always helps for me. But I mean, nothing crazy, man. Just, you know, swimmers, BJs, whoever else, you know, the job's awesome, and just be fortunate that you are doing that job to help somebody else, because man, there's no greater calling. So I mean, I got nothing in that regards, man. Just, love your podcast. Love your podcast.
Thanks,
man.
I
love hearing other people's story. Yeah. It's awesome.
The bonus is I don't actually have to talk too much. It's all you guys.
Yeah.
I might throw an occasional joke out there. Some of them are funny. Some of them are not. I'm okay with both.
Yeah.
Dude, Ty, thank you so much, dude. I really can't thank you enough, brother. This has been awesome. Definitely a major treat for me. So, but
yeah, likewise, dude. Likewise.
Thanks. And I'll be in touch. I promise you, when I come to Alaska, you're going to be one of my first phone calls. After Bob Watson.
Let's go ice climbing. Let's go ice climbing.
Do not tease me with a good time. All right. Because
I won't.
Done. You heard it here. I'm going to hold you to that. All right.
Skiing, whatever you want to do.
Heck. All right, brother, man. Have a good night, and fly safe. Be safe up there, brother. And with that, ladies and gentlemen, we are out of here. Go. Thank you for tuning in. We hope you enjoyed this episode of the Real ResQ Podcast. Please take a minute to like, subscribe, and hit that share button. I'm pulling chocks and taking off. But before I go, if anyone out there has a rescue story they would be willing to share, I would be humbled and honored to have you on as a guest. Or if you have any questions about rescue or anything else we talk about here, send an email to jason@therealresq.com. That's Jason at TheRealResQ.com. You can also check us out on our web pages, therealresq.com, our Facebook page, and our Instagram page @TheRealResQ. Again, a special thank you to all of you staying on the watch today. Always remember, when that SAR alarm goes off, those in distress are praying for a miracle. They are going to get you. Until next time, fly safe and swim hard.